What's up, nerds? Welcome back. As you know, Valentine's Day is rapidly approaching. It's just like a little over a day away now. So I figured let's go ahead and keep in this holiday spirit. You know me, I love the holidays. So we're going to be talking today about, yes, the Scorched #2. Now, I'm sure there are some of you out there sitting there looking at the screen, looking at me, and saying, Dylan, Spawn stuff is not Valentine's related, and you shut your whore mouth because Spawn fits into every holiday. Yes, that includes Arbor Day. I know you were thinking it, and yes, it fits. Don't ask me how, it fits. Anyway, let's get into the book itself. And one thing you're going to notice with this video, I am going to try a new method of doing my videos where I'm going to actually be showing you the pages instead of my pretty mug. Instead of being able to see it the entire video, you're going to be seeing the pages, and every so often I'll cut in if I have a random thought to share with you. But for the most part, I'm going to make it to where you can actually just see the book, the pages themselves, the panels, and we'll see how it works. It's a little bit more work on my end as far as editing, but it may just possibly be worth it, so I'm willing to put in the effort. Anyway, let's get into the book itself. Now, if you will remember, this is basically a team-up of Gunslinger Spawn, Medieval Spawn, She Spawn, and a Redeemer. So and that was on the cover. So I mean, you should have been able to figure that out. Anyway, so that's what we have here. And so they've come together. They're also being hunted down by Russian officials who are also experimenting with symbiotes, particularly the plague spawn that was the prototype for the spawns themselves. Basically, it was Hell's first attempt at making a spawn or a symbiote, and then they thought that they destroyed it, but it wasn't destroyed, and now it's on Earth, and they've been experimenting with it, as Russians will do. Anyway, so that's where we're picking up. We see where he's having like samples extracted from him, and they're doing experiments. And then outside the window, we can also see where there's, battles going on, where the spawns have infiltrated their compound or whatever the hell. So this is where Colonel Khrushchev tells all of his soldiers, everyone that can, it's time for us to transform. He's also going on about, that they're going to bring death to their enemies and all this crap. So they're asking him, okay, what are our orders? Because they broke it through our second wave. He says, find the girls and kill them. They know too much. Their information can't get out. So that's where they deploy all the guerrilla battalions, which is kind of funny considering it's the werewolves. So, but I mean, guerrilla here is that type of guerrilla. Anyway, so he says it's time to deliver them a war. And then we go on to see outside a close-up on the battle itself, where we can see Medieval Spawn impaling the shit out of a guy. We still don't know who this Redeemer is, so I look forward to finding out, because apparently the only one who knows who he actually is Al Simmons, but he hasn't told anybody. And so we also see Gunslinger Spawn over there kind of going gun for gun. He's the only one here. Well, no, She Spawn is also back there with guns. But as you can see, they appear to be holding their own pretty well. Even Medieval Spawn, with just a sword, is just cutting people the fuck up. Anyway, all of a sudden they bring in this, well, one of the girls calls it a raven, but apparently it's explained that ravens were birds of death from old Russian stories, said to have often flown over fields searching for carrion. So Natasha is correct, though this raven is built of steel. It's a Russian Sukhoi, whatever, Su-57, the Black Flag's version of an F-15 fighter. Single seat, stealth with its sound, 150 rounds to fire in a moment. So, I mean, I will say, I don't know what kind of bullets these are. I think they're like necro bullets or something like that. We'll see that that's apparently a thing in just a minute with a sniper. But as you can see, this chick just gets aerated. I mean, I'm talking straight Swiss cheese, as you can see. And so it says it does indeed bring death. So obviously, of the two girls, they've just lost one. And of course, everybody gets all pissed off about that. We can see where Medieval Spawn is the one who seems to take particular exception to this. Gunslinger Spawn is just kind of like trying to keep with the mission. He says, get to her, I'll take care of these last few. And then we can see where I don't know if they were lovers or if they were just friends. I honestly can't remember. But anyway, the other one is freaking out saying they shot her, those fucking bastards, I'll kill them. So of course She-Devil, who's basically been wrangling the girls this whole time, tells her, you know, calm down, and then she gives Redeemer the order to go up in the sky, since he's the only one who can fly, and take out the plane. And then while he's doing that, or while they're kind of handling that situation, like I said, we see that Medieval Spawn is taking particular exception about the way that they killed the girl. But as you can see in this panel, all of a sudden there's this laser pointer that's on his neck, or I guess it's a laser sight. I don't know. I don't know gun things all that much. I know a little bit about them, but not that much. So anyway, he gets shot in the neck, and it says the sniper's bullet comes from the woods. And so we can see exactly who the sniper was. And this is where I was saying about the whole thing with necro bullets, because he says, my necro bullet has wounded the first Hellspawn. So of course, She-Devil takes off with the girl into like the tree line, and then we can see where he shoots Gunslinger Spawn next. So that's where he says, second target down, locking on a third. And he's right about to take down She-Devil when all of a sudden Al Simmons just pops up like, boo! And he just proceeds to literally take this dude's brain out of his skull, as you can see. So I will say, I think that that was very conveniently timed and pretty badass. I like the amount of bloodshed in this book. I think that's the message to take away from this. Dylan enjoys the bloodshed. Anyway, so he's saying she spawns in the woods, find her, I'm heading east. So we can see where it's Terry, of course, who was there as his backup. So he goes over to Jessica and he tells her, like, come over here or whatever. She tells him, you know, take the girl because she's having a meltdown. And she's like, I'm going back. He's like, all right, fine. Well, take my rocket launcher. She's like, hide her and kill anyone that comes close to her. So we can see where it's saying that Redeemer's having a little bit of a hard time with the jet, that his none of his evasive maneuvers seem to be working. So she's like, I've got you, sucker. And then all of a sudden she immediately gets tackled by one of the damn werewolves. So she decides to go ahead and use the rocket launcher to literally beat the shit out of the wolf, which I thought was kind of cool. But at the same time, I was like, that's a dangerous game to be playing because this is a rocket launcher you have. Well, I'm guessing it. No, yeah, it probably is a rocket launcher. I was going to say it's probably more like an RPG, isn't it? But no, this definitely looks like what you would assume a rocket launcher looks like. So yeah. She uses that to beat the hell out of him, which, like I said, bold move, considering I'm pretty sure that wouldn't the explosive inside blow up if you're... I don't know. But then again. Anyway. So it says she learned during all her wet work missions that there's always a way to run and gun. So we can see where she literally, like, does this leaping kick and then shoots straight at the jet and does manage to hit it. So takes that down, which proceeds to take down a whole bunch of buildings and shit. So... it's just kind of talking about the Black Flag also knows the rage flowing in these Hellspawn from having their loved ones erased will be unleashed full force. None of them want to be in this battle. In fact, most don't even want to be here on Earth right now, not in this timeline. But each bides their time until they find an opportunity to change their current fates. So that's when they're pretty much done, that Gunslinger says, ain't no one left to maim, Spawn, so you can crawl back to your little hideout now. And he just tells them, no, those were just distractions. Because it says the true mission of the Black Flag is much more sinister. Their true goal is to identify weaponry, biological, nuclear, or supernatural. When they discovered the plague, Hell's first symbiote prototype, remember, like I told you, it was the perfect disease. What weapon could be better? And the thing with disease, it wants to infect everything. In this case, the Khrushchev plague will sacrifice whatever he needs to achieve his mission. So that's when, like, Spawn brings up his cape as like a shield or whatever, and he even says like he's impaling his own soldiers and shit, which, I mean, you know, that is what villains do, right? They don't really care that much for the people underneath them. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, so that's where we see the girl's freaking out again. She's like, it's that thing again. So She-Spawn tells Terry, like, quick, grab her or whatever. And then we get this whole thing from Khrushchev where apparently he's telling Simmons that he's always been trying to get the bounty that's on his head. Then he says that one that I wanted to collect through Afghanistan, the Ukraine, Serbia. I murdered dozens of Americans trying to find you, which, I mean, that's a weird flex, but all right, go off. He says, but like this traitor in my own army, I had hoped to make you suffer before snuffing you out. When I found out that you'd become what you'd become, that's when I began testing myself. So we see where he grabs this dude who, like, they brought with him, who apparently, like he said, was a traitor. So he decides he's going to kill him, but all of a sudden, before he can actually strangle the life out of him, Medieval Spawn shows up and cuts off his, like, tentacle thing. And then Redeemer kind of, like, blasts him and the wolves. So that kind of buys them some time, and then Gunslinger Spawn comes up and starts using his knives on him. And it's talking about how this is called the Pincer Tactic, a strategy as old as Sun Tzu and the empires of China. Attack from every flank, then wait as you hold your greatest strength for a full head-on assault. So, I mean, yeah, it does seem to be proving effective. And again, like I said, Medieval Spawn, having taken particular exception about the way the girl was killed, is also telling him, like, you killed that girl who had no way of standing up to you. Sacrifice your own men. Where's your honor? So, it definitely makes sense. A knight would have that type of view on, honor and all that, like combat and shit like that. So it definitely makes sense for his character. Anyway, Gunslinger goes on to prove his particular type of character by saying, I'll skin this dog symbiote from him. If not, he'll just bleed to death. So we see where he continues doing that as we get the sort of a close up on his hand as he's just chopping away at the damn thing. And it even says they basically just leave him to do his thing. They're like, it's fine. They'll look for something. They're looking for something else. So as they're walking away, of course, She-Spawn is telling Al Simmons, like, glad you joined, but, what changed your mind? He was like, it's simple. You need me. And she's like, what? You thought we couldn't handle it? He's like, you couldn't. So she says, whatever. Someone had files on our girls. Why? And there's a boy, Sergey, in the same files with Natasha and Odessa. Those were their names. I'm bad with names, especially for side characters who don't contribute all that much. It takes me time. It takes me time. And if they die, what was the point? You know what I mean? Anyway, so he's asking, or Medieval Spawn's asking, why does that matter? She says, because of the American who adopted them. Khrushchev thought he was trying to steal his secrets. So he's asking, like, about plague. She says, I think so. But even if they had that info, what were they going to do with it anyway? Sell it? Al, what do you think? He says, found this coward hiding, because apparently he just randomly found a soldier there. So all of a sudden, he basically gets him to reveal everything he knows. So the soldier basically understands, yeah, I don't have a choice. So he starts talking about it. He says there were 4 of them. Natasha, Odessa, Sergey, and the old man from America, who I guess doesn't have a name. Or we'll find out later what his name is. Anyway, it says he scouted orphanages looking for kids to exploit and train, hoping he'd eventually control plague for his own purposes. He wanted humans to have the power, not hell. Then humans would reign again. Khrushchev wanted the same thing, so he could get rid of all of you. But if he couldn't, then they would. So he's asking, like, or Spawn asks him, like, well, who the hell are they? And so that's where we go back over to Natasha, Odessa. Oh, who cares? Anyway, it says, outside in the thick woods, she's like, go away, leave me alone. But Terry, of course, is running after her. He's like, please, like, you're starting to burn up from Plague's quills. You need to stop. So she, like, finally drops to her knees and she yells out, she says, they'll blame me. They'll say it's all my fault. He's like, well, who's going to blame you? And she says, Sergey and the old man. Again, no name. So that's where we get the caption saying, she runs another quarter mile before collapsing. Terry tries to do everything he can to keep her alive. That effort will be in vain. And then we see where all of a sudden he gets hit in the back of the neck and that kind of like incapacitates him, which unfortunately for Terry seems to happen almost every issue wherever he comes up. Like, he's always getting knocked out or thrown around and shit. Well, you know what I mean? It's just like, poor Terry, you know what I mean? He can't catch a break, but he can catch these hands all day long. It's so sad. Anyway, so we see where this mysterious figure comes up. It says, unfortunately for you, dear friend, Natasha has already said far too much. The secrets we've been keeping are not for the world to know. You should have joined us instead of resisting us, because whoever sides with heaven or hell will always be my mortal enemies. So that's where this particular issue leaves off for right now. And I like this. This was I felt that this issue was stronger than the first one. The first one was pretty good. It had its like action in there, but you could tell there was a lot of them trying to establish what they were trying to go for with this team. Now that they actually have the team together, they're actually able to get into the story itself, which I do appreciate. They're definitely doing that. They're continuing this further. So I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but I do like whenever you have a story of, just some corrupt military experimenting with shit that they think that they control, but you can tell they don't actually control it all that well. So I don't know. We'll see what comes from this. I'm going to keep picking it up. Like I said, I felt that this issue was stronger than the first one. After the first one, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep reading this, but I'm not 100%. After reading this, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do like this. I'm not going to lie. Just like everything else kind of coming out of, Spawn universe right now, except for King Spawn. It's a little bit, that one's still, I'm just kind of up in the air about. This one has me sold now, so I'm fine with it. I'm going to keep picking it up. Gunslinger Spawn is amazing, so that one I'm definitely going to keep reading. So I can't wait to see how all of this continues to, play out, how it all kind of comes together. I'm assuming there's some sort of overarching, like, narrative for all of this because of the way that, the way that they were each advertised and the way that they were each released. It kind of seems like they're all kind of trying to tell a cohesive story, which I can appreciate. So we'll see what comes from that. It should be interesting to see as we continue to move forward, but I don't know if anybody out there picked up this second issue. If you did, you know what to do. Let me know what you thought about it. If you didn't pick it up and you only know about it from watching this video, then I do appreciate that too. Share your thoughts with me should you have any. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure that you like the video, make sure you're subscribed, that you have the notification bell on. If you would like to share the video, I appreciate that. I might need to record that as just something to tack on at the end of the videos, because trying to remember the whole thing is a mouthful, and it's a little bit annoying, I'm not going to lie. But I know these are things I need to say, not because you need to be told what to do, but sometimes people just like a reminder. So I mean, I might just have to do that at some point, but we'll see. That's more effort that I don't really know if I want to put in. We'll see. Anyway, if you guys are done here, then go and read a book, possibly this one. And if not, then I'll see you on my next video.